maniac cut her all up.
You never said anything about posing with a dead guy, you know.
I want to see a little pink.
Jeff was going with a girl and she died.
Died how?
She was murdered.
Hey, I thought you liked him stiff, man.
He is a sick, perverted degenerate.
Hi, I'm Deborah Voorhees. I play Tina in Friday the 13th, Part 5, and you are listening to Hysteria Continues.
You are, and welcome back to the Hysteria Continues, episode number 35. So yeah, getting quite epic now with our numbers. And yes, well, this week we are discussing Joseph's pick, which is the Rush Week, which is a late 80s college set slasher. And before we talk about what else we're going to talk about, I might as well introduce you to the other frat boys who are in the house. How are you doing, Joseph?
Well, aside from a few phone issues, I'm doing all right. How are you, Justin?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, just in case we're kind of in the midst of updating Skype and various bits and pieces and new equipment, and so if anything goes wrong, you are pre-warned. So, but hopefully we shall be incident free. But yeah, I'm doing good, thank you, Joseph. How are you doing, Nathan?
I'm very good, and I think that you guys need something new. Yes, you do, in your life. Maybe tonight.
Ooh, okay.
Love that
A
song.
damn catchy song.
Well, we might hear some more of that a little bit later. And how about you, Erik? Are you being catchy?
I am, yeah. I have to say I love that song as well. I was just watching it before we started recording here.
I kept
there's something awful yet wonderful about it at the same time.
I kept the MP3 that I sent to you, Justin. It's now in my collection, so I can listen to it whenever I feel like it.
Send that to me.
Okay, sure.
Well, I'm sure anyone who's listened to Rush Week will know all about the joys and tribulations of that film. So, well, we're going to be talking about Rush Week a little bit later. And also, you just heard Debbie Sue Voorhees introducing the show. Erik, you had a little chat with her earlier this week, didn't you? Or quite recently?
Yes, it was last week I was chatting to her because she's currently in London for a few weeks for various reasons, which we will discuss in the interview later.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to get to that a little bit later. And also, we have another interview as well with Russ Manzat. Joseph, you spoke to, who was a writer of Rush Week. So we got that interview coming up later, and that's quite a treat because it's a film that was quite difficult to find very much information about, wasn't it? So it was pretty good going to actually get the interview. So yes, we'll be coming up to that a little bit later. Also, we've got a quiz. Joseph is going to be regaling us or testing out our slasher movie knowledge. So you can play along as well and see if you can beat us all off. Oh dear. Well, hopefully we've all
in
got
for a world of hurt. It's time for some revenge.
Okay. Right.
Okay, I may have to throw a tantrum because I know I'm going to lose. Because I'm
for what?
Yeah.
Because I didn't win last time. I won the first game, but not the last one.
So this is sweet revenge.
It's like slasher film. Now I have to go out and pick you off one by one.
Well, Nathan should be your target of revenge. He won it last time.
Yeah,
you should leave me and Justin alone.
You're all dead by proxy. It's how slasher films work. They always kill the people that don't really deserve it, so you have to die anyway.
Well, fair enough. Well, we shall see who comes out on top a little bit later. But before we do that, we could talk a little bit about what we usually talk about, which are recently seen. So, who wants to go first? Erik, what have you been watching the last?
Okay, slasher-wise, I saw Chrome Skull Laid to Rest Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't a huge fan of the first one, but I thought it had, certain elements were really good. Particularly the effects were astounding in it, and that carries over into the sequel. Unfortunately, all the other problems from Laid to Rest Part 1 are carried over as well. Namely, they introduce all these plot threads that end up going nowhere. In the first one, we're introduced to a character who has amnesia, and they keep referring to it all the way through the movie and then sort of throw it away in a real haphazard manner. At the end, there's no sort of proper resolution to it. And again, in the sequel, we have the lead character, her eyesight is slowly degrading due to some illness she has, and this is made a big deal of, and then it has nothing to do with anything when it comes to the end of the film. And there's also, they set up this sort of sinister organization, which kind of reminded me of Cabin in the Woods. There's this sinister organization that is headed by Chrome Skull, and they keep him alive and they supply him with weapons and all that, but we never learn anything about why they do it or what their purpose is. Although one of the minions for Chrome Skull is the fantastic Brian Austin Green, who I know I'm a fan of, and Amanda by Night is, because he was, of course, David Silver in Beverly Hills 90210, but I'm sure nobody else cares. Danielle Harris is in it as well, actually, as one of Chrome Skull's workers, employees. It gets an A+ for gore, though. I mean, plot-wise, it's not up to much, but the gore effects are unbelievable, and it's worth seeing for those alone. I mean, it's like Hatchet, I suppose, the outlandish gore of Hatchet with maybe a nastier edge. So a very mediocre film with very impressive special effects.
I mean, do you think they're aiming for more films to kind of explain that? Because they did that with some of the later Halloween or the mid-Halloween.
Yeah, actually, Halloween 5 sort of goes down the same route. I'd say so. I'd say they'll keep churning them out. Hopefully they might... I just hope that when they sort of plant seeds at the start of the film, that they follow them through and don't just sort of throw them away halfway through the film, as they've done in both of the first laid to rests.
Okay. What about you, Joseph and Nathan? Have you seen the sequel?
I've seen the first one, and I didn't really care for it. I thought the heroine in the first film was very shrill, so I haven't really, had the heart to watch the second one.
Well, she'd been through a lot. I mean, of course she's going to be.
Yeah.
I've seen them both.
The actress who plays the shrill lead in part 1 is replaced in part 2 with a different actress.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've seen both
I might
of them.
check it out eventually.
They got
like gore effects. They got good gore effects, but I don't know. The first one didn't really do anything for me.
Well, I'm interested to hear Danielle Harris. Is she playing a baddie in it then?
She is, yeah.
Okay.
In a suit.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm the
interesting, isn't it?
baddie.
Because she can't play like teenage victims for much longer, can she? She's about...
No,
52.
although seeing her in a suit feels kind of weird, because I still, in my mind, she's only about 19, although I know she's probably about 34 or something.
Yeah, okay. Well, interesting. How about anything else?
Yeah, I saw an Australian shark movie, which I'm sure, using your criteria, classifies as a slasher, called The Reef.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah, I liked it very much. I think what it does that a lot of modern films don't do, and we keep discussing this, is it builds up really likable characters. It reminded me a lot of Open Water, but whereas Open Water sort of descended into a couple bickering in the middle of the ocean, this one actually has people getting along and, working together to try and escape the sharks. What happens is you have 5 people in a capsized yacht in the middle of the ocean. They have to swim 10 miles to land, and only... not all of them make it, let's just say that. It's not terribly gory, but you do get lots of shark footage. What they've done is shot live action sharks and superimposed the people on them, and the effects are quite good. It gets very tense in parts, particularly the end is really, really good. I would highly recommend it. Certainly, as much as I liked Open Water, I thought it was quite good. This is a lot better.
Okay.
Might I recommend the same director did one about crocodiles or alligators? I think it's crocodiles, called Blackwater.
Yeah.
It's about the guy, a group of people stuck in a swamp with a killer alligators. I'd recommend.
Is that the one where they're stuck up a tree for most of it? Is it?
Yeah. It's actually really good. They're both really good films. I think that director, he's really good. He's one to watch.
There's have you seen the trailer for that other Australian shark movie coming out? Is it Shark Night in 3D?
That was last year.
That's been out forever.
Oh, not Shark Night. What's the one that I saw the trailer for? It's the one where there's a tsunami and they get trapped.
They're in that mall or whatever.
Bait?
Yeah, Bait.
Is it?
I haven't seen it, yeah.
Okay. When I saw the trailer, it looked quite good, and it's another Australian film, I think.
It's a flooded shopping mall with sharks in it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's sort of like Deep Blue Sea meets Dawn of the Dead or something.
That actually sounds quite good.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I want to see it. I think it looks entertaining.
Yeah, the trailer looks quite fun. So, okay. Well, lots of shark movies. Anything else, Erik?
Oh, yeah, I saw, on the big screen, I saw Shogun Assassin during the week, which is, of course, the edited highlights of the first 2 Lone Wolf and Cub films. It was shown because Gareth Evans has this film called The Raid out at the moment, which everyone is raving about. It's this Indonesian action movie, and they're just showing a series of films that influenced it, and Shogun Assassin was one of them. So I went along to see it. It's one I quite like. I wouldn't say I love. It's kind of plotless, and it's more a series of gory set pieces as we follow this samurai warrior who pushes his young son in a pram around the wilderness, encountering various foes, and generally beating them up in operatic bloodshed. You know, there's lots of decapitations and all types of things like that. It reminds me a lot of, do you remember that 70s series Monkey? I think it was called Monkey. It might have been called Monkey Magic. Was it called Monkey, Justin?
I think it was just called Monkey, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a real campy, kitschy Japanese pop culture entertainment thing. What I didn't realize actually when I got home and I was looking up the film on IMDb is that the director of the Americanized version, the one who sort of edited together the two films to make Shogun Assassin, is actually Robert Houston, who played Bobby in The Hills of Eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah. The other film I watched, I'll quickly touch on, I watched, it's not horror related at all. It was Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. And the only reason I mention it is because I never realized that friend of the podcast, Spice Williams Crosby, is in there as a Klingon.
Okay, right. Yeah, so she's done lots of interesting roles, hasn't she, Spice Williams Crosby? But
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Well, no, thank you, Erik. Yeah, because we haven't recorded for 3 weeks because our busy schedules of jet setting around the world and meeting fabulous people, or I think just going to Manchester and various things like that, isn't it? Not
Manchester and Kilkenny, which is my hometown.
Yes.
So it's not terribly exotic. No.
You killed Kenny?
Kilkenny.
Yeah.
You bastard.
I know.
So, well, yes, so that explains why we've seen possibly a few more movies than we might do normally. But how about you, Nathan? What have you been watching the last 3 weeks?
I don't have much to talk about because Wes had me set through every single Star Wars movie, all 6 of them, and I'm not a fan of sci-fi at all. I don't get sci-fi. It's not my genre. You know, they're not badly made movies by any means. It's just not what I'm interested in. So, I mean, while I don't think they're bad at all, I was just kind of like, you know, this is like 13 hours. Can we move to something else? But on a horror-related note, I did watch. There was a discussion on the message boards for that 1992 film Mikey, and so I looked on YouTube, and the whole movie is on there. So I watched that whole movie, and I really, really enjoy it. I think it's really ridiculous and very entertaining, and the characters in it are so stupid. I mean, like at the end, which one part that I love is Mikey is watching a video of I guess he had, video where he killed his previous family. And his adoptive mom walks in and sees him watching this. And, he's like, I'm watching Mikey's Funniest Home Videos. And she's in shock and just sits down. And so he's got a hammer, and he just walks up to her and just smashes her on the hand. And then she gets up and walks into the kitchen and puts ice on her hand. I mean, she found out that her son, or her adopted son, is a serial killer. And he just attacked her, and she's just concerned about getting ice on that hand of hers. And the fact that she will not fight back at all. I mean, he will beat her with a hammer, and the best she can do is just give him a little shove.
She should have done like that woman in the news this week, where she adopted a 7-year-old from Russia, didn't she? And then she didn't like him, so she sent him back.
Oh, did she? I haven't heard of that.
Sorry. Well, she's been done for child. Well, they've basically, she's got to pay £1,000 a month or a week or something in childcare now. But yeah, she sent him back and said he wasn't what she wanted, or he was a bit damaged or something. So she sent him back alone on a plane. So there you go. That's mothering for you.
The fallacy for that movie is that I agree with Jerry Seinfeld. You could just wring his neck. I mean, why doesn't anyone drop kick him? He's a little kid. He's like 2 foot tall.
They're all afraid of him or something. I don't get it.
That movie is hilarious, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a really fun movie. The only thing I was disappointed in is the heroine, Josie Bissett, who played Jane in Melrose Place, by the way. She didn't get a good enough, final confrontation with him. It lasted like a few seconds and then it was over. Like, I would have preferred like a good cat and mouse, chase scene between him and her, but I guess they couldn't make that too realistic because, like you said, I mean, eventually, why doesn't she just step on him?
I haven't seen that film for a long time. There's Mikey. Is it different to Milo? Or is there a film called Milo?
Yeah,
it's a different film.
Right, okay. I don't think I've seen Mikey. I think I've just seen Milo.
It's entertaining, Justin.
Okay,
you should watch
I'll look out for that. So anything else apart from Star Wars?
Not really. I mean, I watched Cape Fear, the remake, again on Friday night. I've always thought it was a good movie, so I still enjoyed it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I sort of remember seeing that at cinema. So, good stuff. Excellent. How about you, Joseph? What have you been watching?
Well, I finally watched The Human Centipede 2, and
The uncut version.
I saw the uncut version.
Yeah.
Everyone's like saying, "Oh, it's so it's really clever for a sequel," and I just don't get it. I mean, I understand what it wants to do, but it's just so miserable. I mean, I don't like watching movies where it's just all like dreary through the whole thing. I mean, there's no fun to be had. I mean, the guy playing the Martin, he's certainly a nice guy. I mean, we ran into him a few months ago at the Day of the Dead, and he gets a good performance. He's suitably creepy, but the film just does nothing for me. It's just watching people be tortured over and over. It just kind of drags on. So I'm not a fan of that one. I'm not really a fan of the first one either. But and I hear they're making a 3 with over 100 people in the Centipede. I'm curious to see how that's going to come about. But yeah, that's what I think of Human Centipede 2.
Okay, I've not had the pleasure. But
you're not missing anything.
It's been cut very heavily in the UK, but I'm sure there are ways to watch the uncut version. But I did enjoy the first one. I thought the first one was quite entertaining. But
the first one had a bit of a sense of humor, I think. Yeah. But this one, I mean, it tries to have a sense of humor, but the jokes aren't really funny. Right. I mean, it's him like laughing, him wrapping sandpaper around his dick and raping a girl and laughing, and I think it's supposed to be funny, but I didn't laugh. Yeah.
Okay, well, anything else?
I saw Piranha 3D, which I thought was okay. I mean, everyone was raving about it, and I don't know, it just... The best part was Jerry O'Connell playing the sleazy kind of Girls Gone Wild founder type character where, all he cares about is getting naked women on film and partying. He was the best part of the film, I thought. And the 3D, I guess, was okay. But I don't know. Overall, it wasn't fun in a Tremor sort of way where all the characters are likable and it's just it's kind of, campy. It's kind of just, okay, it's fun just because it has decent, 3D effects. And that's pretty much it. So I expected a little more out of it, and I didn't get really what I wanted. So, but I am looking forward to the sequel, Piranha 3DD, which looks amazing.
Is that out? Is that out in the UK,
that opened last week over here, yeah. And
it's not out here yet.
It's got absolutely dreadful reviews, and it's absolutely tanked as well. It only went in at number 8 in the UK box office last week,
right?
Which is quite low.
Because it's been advertised everywhere outside the
put me off. I think it looks fun.
Yeah. What's happened is that it's into the second week now, and it's relegated to sort of one show a day over here. Anyway, I don't know about you over in Bristol.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I've not. It's on the side of bus shelters and on buses and stuff like that. But it kind of passed me by. I haven't gone to see it.
I was going to go see it, but I couldn't go in the first week, and now because it's on restricted times. I'll just skip it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh well, that's the end of because there's talk about that going straight to DVD, and I imagine if it tanks really badly in Europe, they may pull it from the schedule in the States. Perhaps I don't know, but we shall see.
So I thought the trailer did look good for it, though, but just the reviews have been awful, even from people who like the genre and liked the first Piranha 3D.
Oh, really? Well, that's usually a kind of a good sign that a film's going to do really badly, isn't it? Or it's going to be awful. Who directed it? It's not the guy who did the first one, is it?
It's John Gulager. Let me see.
He did the Feast films, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
He did, yeah.
They're quite good fun, aren't they?
It's Clu Gulager's son, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, we shall see. Maybe that's the end of the Monster 3D fest, which actually there wasn't really many, was there? There was only Piranha, as far as monsters go, anyway, I think.
And Shark Night 3D. and
But that didn't really do much business either, did it?
No, and they have that bait coming out, and I'm sure they'll come up with something else.
Yeah, no,
it's a shame. All these movies are excellent, and they're not doing that well. What is wrong with people?
Well, it's just cyclical, isn't it? I'm going to guess it's got to go on to the next big thing, whatever that's going to be.
I'm not ready to give up 3D, though.
No, it wasn't. Prometheus is in 3D, isn't it?
It is, yeah. But I think it'll probably be RT 3D. You're not going to have spaceships flying out and over your head, probably. But
no, or kind of aliens popping out of John Hurt's stomach.
No.
Or anything like that.
Damn.
Chest. Yeah, but I've got tickets to go and see that next in a week or 2 weeks' time when it opens.
1st of June it opens. Yeah. Can't wait to see that. Yeah.
That bank holiday weekend, I'm going to go and see it. So yeah, cool. Anything else, Joseph?
I saw Rush Week. You want to talk about that?
Oh, we'll talk about that shortly, yes. And we've got a film we're actually going to talk about. We'll do that after I've spoken about what I've seen, because there's a film we've all watched, apart from Rush Week, and we'll get onto that, and somebody will be hopefully quite excited we'll be talking about it. But it's been 3 weeks. Did I talk all about Evil last time?
No.
No, I don't remember.
No. Have any of you seen that?
No, but I want to.
Yeah, no, I watched it about 2 weeks ago, maybe. It's the Peaches Christ film, and it's got Natasha Lyonne and Thomas Dekker in it. Who I think is Thomas Dekker in? He's in Later Rest, isn't he? I don't know if he's in the sequel.
Yeah, he's in Chrome Skull Later Rest. He's a small role in the first one and a major role in the second one.
Right. Yeah. He's in All About Evil as a kind of horror movie fan, and it's kind of set in San Francisco. And Natasha Lyonne runs a movie theatre. And the show's kind of old revival horror movies and stuff. And essentially, without giving too much away, the real murders start happening, and the box office goes through the roof at the cinema. And it's directed by Peaches Christ, or by whoever his male alter ego is. And I quite liked it. It's not. It kind of. I was a little bit disappointed by it. I thought it was going to be funnier than it was. It's also got Mink Stole in it, which is obviously a plus, and also Cassandra Peterson, kind of aka Elvira. So there's lots of good references in there. And Natasha Lyonne's great. Thomas Dekker's good. It looks great. It's I kind of guess I wanted it to go the full Monty kind of John Waters sort of route. And considering it's got Mink Stole in it, and 12-foot drag queens and all sorts of things going on, lots of gore, lots of boobs, lots of everything you could want, it just doesn't quite go that John Waters route, which it would have been. I would have liked. It's not quite as full on camp as it could have been, or as funny as it could have been. So it just comes across ultimately as not quite. It just doesn't satisfy basically, but worth seeing, definitely worth seeing. I mean, it's kind of a borderline slasher movie because obviously people are being killed and then stalked and decapitated and all sorts of bloody effects and stuff like that. But it's worth seeing. I might enjoy it more if I saw it a second time, because I'd know what to expect now. But I'd be interested in hearing what you guys think about it when you get to see it. The other films I've seen, which aren't slasher movies, but for some reason, Love Film, which is kind of like the UK version of Netflix, has decided to send us all of the Death Wish movies, one after the other, except all out of order. Now, not Death Wish 1, which obviously has a thin veneer of kind of respectability, and, well, not even respectability, but like a seriousness about it. But we watched, the first one to come through is Death Wish 5, which, you've got this kind of slightly portly, killer, sort of Charles Bronson is kind of, obviously, I'm sure you've seen Death Wish movies, he's kind of this pacifist who becomes this kind of killer, a vigilante. And in Death Wish 5, it's just kind of, I mean, by that point, it's all seriousness has gone out the window. And you've got Leslie Ann Down as a fashionista, who has a head ground into a mirror by a transvestite in a bathroom, and it's just ridiculous. I thought it was, we were laughing all the way through it until I saw Death Wish 3 last night, which was even funnier.
Death Wish 3 is brilliant.
It was. It's so. I mean, the thing is, it's politically, I find they're very troubling, because obviously they are kind of like far right wing vigilante kind of things, which obviously I don't personally agree with, but they are just really funny, because I mean it's just the most ridiculous film, and it gets more and more and more stupid as it goes through. And of course Michael Winner by that point was making films. I mean, he'd made films like Scream for Help, which is one of the funniest films I've ever seen, and Death Wish 3 was hilarious.
I love Death Wish 3.
It's just so
great.
isn't it? It's just so stupid, and you've got all of these kind of I mean, it's just so cartoonish, isn't it? This kind of this kind of gang straight out of I don't know, what are they straight out of...
Sig Sputnik.
Yeah, exactly, terrorising people. And it's just kind of like the bizarre things, isn't it? There's one of the gang what his special thing is stealing ladies' handbags. And so Charles Bronson shoots him in the back with this massive magnum, and it's kind of like that doesn't really translate as why would you kill him for stealing an old lady's handbag like that? But it's in the end you've got like, is it Martin Balsam who was in Psycho, and you've got rocket launchers and submachine guns and all sorts of things going on. It's So it's
how would you feel, Justin, if somebody stole your handbag when you're waiting for the bus in Bristol?
Well,
you'd be annoyed.
I'd be annoyed, but I wouldn't expect some pensioner to come out with a magnum the size of a torpedo and shoot them in the back as they're running away.
Well, I would.
Would you?
See, the thing I think about the Death Wish films is that every time, Charles Bronson character, is it Paul Kersey, I think his name is? He gets like a new wife and a new child in every movie, and they always end up like brutally raped and murdered. So if I were a woman and I saw him on the street or like on a dating website, I wouldn't go anywhere near him for fear of, getting tortured.
You'd run a mile, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how does he even get women to go out with him? Because everyone, ends up dead or worse.
Because he's really sexy.
Yeah.
We've got Death Wish 4 tonight, so all out of order. So we've got that to look forward to tonight. So, but apart from that, the only very quickly watch Session 9 again, which I know Joseph, you're quite a big fan of Session 9, and we watched it in an old Welsh cottage in the middle of nowhere. There used to be a pub, and it was built in like 17th century or something, and it was kind of. And it was a bit of a spooky place, and so we watched Session 9. It's perfect setting for it, so that was that. But yeah, the other film we're going to discuss quickly is Dead Hunt, which is, I have to say that quite carefully, Dead Hunt, which Joseph, do you want to tell us a little bit about Dead Hunt?
Dead Hunt is it's a slasher film about a group of horror movie fans who meet up to discuss themselves, I suppose. They all met on some kind of forum, and they get together to have like a film festival in like this warehouse, and then there's a killer picking them off. But the reason why it's being discussed is because one of the forum members, Remy or Robert Long, he did I think he did the set decoration, and I know he did the DVD cover, and he was good friends with I guess it was the director, Don Dohler, before he passed away, and he's always talking about it on the forum. So he got Nathan and I to watch it when we were in Baltimore a few years ago, and I know he was wanting to hear about it on the show, so that's what we're talking about it. But it's not a bad film. I mean, I don't think it's wonderful. I mean, he thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Sliced bread being invented the previous winter, but I think it's okay. It's it's got some good set pieces, and I like the setting, and I actually like the idea of forum members, kind of like us, finally meeting up, and then it all goes wrong. The only thing I can say bad about it is I think some of the performances were a little iffy, but other than that, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
How about you, Nathan?
I enjoyed it too because one character I loved is the bitchy woman. I think it's the blonde.
Sorry.
Yeah, I could not remember her name, but yeah, she's like really bitchy in it. But I mean, it's like bitchy as in Melissa from Friday the 13th Part 7. So I mean, it's delightfully bitchy. So it makes it entertaining. But I agree with Joseph in that I did like the setting, and I love the idea behind it, and the kills are pretty good, and I kind of agree that it's not, obviously it's not a classic by any means. It's no Halloween or Friday the 13th, but I don't know, just Joe and I like researching about this little short film we're trying to make and stuff. I kind of am way more forgiving to films now because it is so hard to make a movie. So, I try to give as much leeway as I possibly can because I understand all the stuff that can come up. But, I got to say, out of the direct-to-video films, this you could do way worse.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about your short film shortly. But, Erik, what did you think of Dead Hunt?
Well, I probably agree with Nathan and Joseph. I thought it was a good concept. I think rather than them being forum members, aren't they all reviewers for a website? And
yeah, that's what it is.
Because
they met on a forum that does reviews.
Yeah.
Movies,
so I thought that was a great concept. It is a little bit by the numbers, which isn't a problem really with slasher films, as we know. They're all kind of vaguely similar. For me, it sagged a bit in the middle, but I would disagree about the performances. I thought, like, for a direct-to-DVD movie, and shot on video, I thought the performances were not too bad. I mean, if you want bad performances, look at Birdemic. I mean, go no further than that.
I love Birdemic.
I know, I love it too. I'm just saying, I thought the caliber of acting in Dead Hunt was not too bad. I found it surprisingly entertaining, I have to say. I'm not really one for, it's a struggle for me to enjoy a theatrical movie, in the current era, but a direct-to-DVD one, you usually have no chance. But I did enjoy parts of Dead Hunt, I have to say. I mean, the final two characters who are left at the end, I thought were quite likable. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, as you say, Joseph, not a classic, but worth a watch, I'd say.
Yeah, I would. Sorry, you got something else to say?
I was just going to say, the whole point behind the film makes me wonder, like, should we be nicer to films?
No.
Or should we be nicer to other forum members?
I'm scared
one of them might snap.
I'm scared that Dana Kimmel is going to come along in disguise and,
What, as a good actress?
Ooh.
Sorry.
That was Joseph said that. That was Justin said that, sorry. Not us. I love you, Dana.
Yeah. I love you, Dana.
Please let my children go.
Well, just my little tuppence. I enjoyed Dead Hunt. I agree, it did sag a little bit in the middle, and it kind of lost my attention a little bit. But I thought, for a very meagre budget, I thought it was pretty well done, and it was entertaining. I liked the characters. Also, I liked the fact that a lot of thought had obviously gone into them, because I really liked the bitchy character Sari, who was the wife of the long-suffering wife of one of the reviewers, and she really didn't want to be there surrounded by all these horror geeks, which I'm sure for lots of us, being the horror geeks, have known partners and various people who just will humour us and being around other people. So I thought that was good, but I also really liked the fact that she was really bitchy and quite funny, and it was almost slightly John Waters-esque, which I appreciated. But then her character didn't change towards the end, which I thought showed quite a lot of thought had gone into it. I enjoyed it for what it was. There was obviously a lot of love behind it, and to be honest, I keep on meaning to watch a bit more of the Dondola kind of films, because I've got, is it Fiend, isn't it? He did Fiend, and was it Night Beast?
I've seen Night Beast, yeah.
Yeah, I've not seen. I've got Fiend, I think, on video somewhere, on VHS somewhere. I bought years and years and years ago, and I've never watched it. But yes, I mean, there's got a lot of kudos to people who go out of the way to make films because of the love of the genre. And but yeah, I thought it was good fun, and the killer's reveal was kind of interesting. I did like the scene where they found the guy at the beginning and all his guts are pulled out into a kind of almost like a spider's web spread across the floor, and one of them goes, "Is he dead?" Which is kind of, which I thought was quite funny. But yeah, of course, that whole weird thing of kind of kind of real violence as in film violence versus real violence as in real life violence, and it's kind of that bit where you tip over into, I think one of the characters says, "I love blood and corn syrup blood and latex gore, but I don't like the real stuff," and I think that we'd probably all agree with that. So I had a good time with it. So
did either of you guess the identity of the killer?
No, but I did. I had narrowed it down to two people, and it was one of them.
Yeah. Well, I thought it would have to be somebody we'd seen before. So I kept an open mind, really, but it certainly was somebody that I thought was one of the people who is dead would have to come back.
Yes, that's what I thought as well, and I thought it was one of the two early ones.
I thought it couldn't be the ones.
Spoiler alert! Sorry.
Yeah. But I thought it couldn't be the ones that had were gutted or electrocuted or stuff like that, because unless someone else was in on it. But yeah, it kept me guessing. So yeah, thank you, Remy. So I hope you enjoyed us dissecting Dead Hunt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Justin. I just forgot to mention something, because I never have trivia, and I actually have something for Dead Hunt.
Ooh, okay.
The killer's name, or his nickname, is The Quote, and Remy told me that.
The Quote? As in what?
Mm-hmm. That's just,
I think he means those review quotes. Is that what he's talking about, I think? Like
I just know that his nickname was the Quote.
Okay.
It's an interesting one, like the Quote, like like you quote something. I don't know.
Okay. Oh, well, we shall see. I mean, because obviously Don Dola passed away, didn't he? A few years ago. So
yeah, I think it's almost a year ago, maybe.
No, it was 2006, I think.
Was it 2006?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
when was the film made then? It was made.
It was released in 2007, so I assume it was shot in 2006.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I thought it was just like a year ago. I'm not sure. I guess I was wrong.
Well, the IMDb says 2006.
Oh, well, there you have it.
Well, there you go. Well, so we're unlikely to see a sequel to Dead Hunt, but yeah, so it's worth tracking down. But yeah, talking about sort of kind of grassroots movies. Nathan and Joseph got something up your sleeves, haven't you? Did you want to talk about that a little bit?
We don't really want to give the plot away too much, but I guess I can say what I can say is you usually have movies where characters go into the woods, right? Well, here I think what we can say is that the characters actually don't make it to the woods before they're kind of menaced by something. We won't tell what it is, but it's basically one of those characters try to go somewhere, but they don't quite make it, and something starts tormenting them. And it's called Till Dusk Do Us Part, and it's going to be a short film, and we're going to throw some ketchup at the wall and see what sticks.
Okay, and is Nathan's grandmother going to be in it?
No, we're going. Sorry, Nathan, but we're actually going to hire real actors for this.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Well, there was no part that she could really have in this one, based off the original idea, but she'll probably be in the sequel.
What about the shoe rack? Will that make
it's going to make an appearance.
Okay, well,
of course.
Well, of course.
It's like the that car.
Now, how am I going to write that in there?
I'm talking about in the sequel.
Oh, okay.
It could be the killer.
Yeah.
You got me thinking, now, wait a minute. Where am I going to put a shoe rack, considering what the plot is about?
And how short is short? Is it going to be like 10 minutes or?
About 15, maybe 20.
Yeah, something like that.
How are you going to film it? What are you going to film it on?
We're using high-definition cameras.
Okay. Because I've noticed, the ones that somebody I know's got, like, the digital SLRs, stills cameras now take video, and the quality is amazing for some of the video. You can take it like 1080 and
yeah, 1080p. We're editing with Adobe Audition. My brother's doing the score for it. I got a friend of a friend who does special effects work, and they're going to do some special effects for us. So we're going to give it our all, and we're going to try to put it out there and see what happens.
Okay, excellent. Well, give us a blow-by-blow account throughout the next coming months, and we'll look forward to that. So,
when do you plan to shoot it?
Maybe late this summer or the fall. What do you think, Nathan? That's what we're kind of working towards.
Sure, yeah, we're prepping, so I don't know how long it's all going to take.
Yeah,
excellent.
Before winter, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely before it gets too cold.
Okay, right. Well, no, we should look forward to that. So yeah, keep us informed, and then okay, excellent. Right. Well, I think should we move on to the next thing that's on the menu, which is I think Joseph's quiz. So this
yes, I have a quiz for you, for all three of you.
Okay, you're going to keep score, Joseph.
I will keep score. Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically basically since we're covering Rush Week, which is a college set slasher film, what I did is I compiled a bunch of questions pertaining to college and high school slasher films. Okay. The first part of the quiz is dedicated to high school slasher films. The second part is dedicated to college slasher films, and the last part is dedicated to people who are in college or high school out in the real world getting killed. So that is part of it. I call this quiz from high school to real world. It's not a very good name, but I just thought of it off the top of my head just now. So.
We'll see. I'm not quite sure I understand the last part, but I'm sure that'll become apparent.
Well, the last part is people that are probably still in college or still in high school, but they're out doing other things.
It's not set in high school, but it is people involving people who would be in high school.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Okay. I still don't
so, there's high school, there's college, and then there's the real world. That's how they say it. When you graduate college, it's time to go out in the real world. This is what this is.
Okay, right. Well, let's get started. Let's see who will come out on top.
Yeah. All right, we'll start with Nathan. All right, Nathan. In Prom Night, What color is the 6 years later scroll text at the very beginning of the film after the girl falls out the window?
Oh my God.
Yellow?
It's right, yellow. Nathan's got a point.
Oh dear. Joe's, Eric, should we just go down the pub? I think
we should. Yeah.
All right. The next question is for Eric. What is the name of the high school in Graduation Day?
No. I have no fucking idea. Oh, sorry, my language. James Woods High?
No.
No,
Is
I
that
don't
your
know.
official guess?
That is my official guess.
All right, I'm going to pass it on to Justin. Justin, do you have a guess? Quit typing.
Quick type. I'm not typing. I'm looking at the video back of the video cover actually.
That's still
You're hoping you'll see it on there.
It's cheap.
Yeah, I know it's cheating, but it's not on there anyway. So I know it would be. It's not Hamilton High, is it? That's prom night.
Prom night.
No. All right,
so-
Nathan, you want to steal this one?
It's the class of 81 is running out of time.
No, you're all wrong. It's actually Midvale.
Never would have got it.
No.
Oh, I should have. If I still got my graduation day poster up, but I haven't got it up at the moment. So, as it were. Oops.
All right.
Right.
Okay, Justin. What 1984 high school slasher film was also known as Portrait?
Fatal Games.
No. Nathan?
I don't know.
I do know this one, but I can't.
Eric?
Portrait. High school in 1984. Girls' Night Out.
Oh, close, but it's actually Girl School Screamers.
That's right. Yeah. No.
All right. That covers the high school portion. Now we're moving on to college.
Low scoring quiz this one.
So
isn't
far, it's Nathan 1, Eric and Justin 0.
I thought you said in emails correspondence these questions were easy.
They are easy for me because I know the answers.
I'm this close to it. I'm this close to a tantrum. This close.
Let it
All right,
out,
Nathan.
Eric.
All right, Nathan. What is Rachel Ward's full name in Night School?
Her name is Daphne Zuniga.
No. Eric, do you know?
Stacy Logan.
No. Justin?
Nancy Feelgood.
That's correct.
That's a great drag name.
Actually, it's Eleanor Auger. I guess it's how you pronounce
God's sake.
it. Yeah. All right, Eric.
Yes.
What is the title of the book the final girl is reading in final exam?
God's
Who pays attention to this shit?
I know. I'm already the Augustus Gloop of this podcast. I don't want to be the Veruca Salt as well. You're pushing me to the edge.
You wouldn't know these either, Joseph.
I do know them. Why do you think I'm asking this?
Is it Teenage Wasteland by J.A. Kurzweil?
Yes.
Which is out on June the 1st in the States. As
Called the Slasher Movie Book.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin, do you know?
That's not right, no?
It's not abnormal psychology, is it?
I'll give you a point. It's an introduction to abnormal psychology.
There you go.
Way to go, Jeff.
There you go.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's. I gave you plenty of time to Google it there anyway.
This is true.
I know that, Eric, because that's one of the alternate
course you do, yeah.
artworks that has the picture of abnormal psychology with a bloody knife stuck in it. That's how I know that.
All right, and this question is for Justin. What was the red herring's full name in The Dorm That Dripped Blood?
Was he the guy with frizzy hair? With
Yeah,
red
what was
frizzy
his
hair?
name?
I've absolutely no idea. But I know he had frizzy hair, like, was it Krusty the Clown?
No. Hey! All right, we'll pass this one to Nathan.
John Hammett.
That's correct. Sorry, Eric.
I love Dorm That Drip Blood.
All right, you guys have graduated college. So far, it's Nathan 2, Justin 1, and Eric 0.
Well, it's a stupid game
Eric hasn't
anyway.
graduated, clearly. Eric's still in remedial class.
Now we're going out into the real world since you've graduated college. Nathan, how many times did the sheriff fire upon the killer in House of Death at the end of the film?
He fired 6 times.
Oh, close, but no.
I shot him 6 times.
Erik.
Ooh, 5?
That's correct.
Yay! I knew that.
All right, this question is
this
for
game
Erik.
is officially brilliant now again, by the way.
Yeah. In Mortuary, this is for Erik. In Mortuary, when Christy is sleepwalking, she winds up in the swimming pool. Does she go completely under the water?
Ooh.
This is horrible.
Yes
If he gets it wrong, Justin's going to get it right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wrong, Erik.
Yes.
What was your answer?
Yes, she does go completely under the water.
That's a big fat no.
Oh.
I say no.
Everything except for her nose up. I mean, it goes underwater. So that's it. So I guess Justin automatically gets a point for that one.
That's
Sorry,
fair.
Erik. I
Yeah.
feel for you.
I didn't think that one through. Now that I look at it, but
So this is my chance to grab defeat from the jaws of glory, isn't it?
yeah, this is your chance, Justin. This is the last question, and then my quiz is done.
Okay.
What was Harv's full name in April Fool's Day? He was the kind of the buffoonish country boy character.
I've no idea, I must say.
Nathan?
Harvey Hal Edison Jr.
That is correct. All right, let's see. Justin has 2 points, Erik has 1, and Nathan has 3. So Nathan wins.
Well done, Nathan.
Well,
Yay.
yes, well
Thank
done,
you.
Nathan.
Well, you all
Commiserations,
got a
Erik.
point, so be happy.
Remember, Erik, it's all about taking part, not necessarily winning. Which is just as well in your case.
Yeah. Hey!
Oh, now we
It
just
was a
need
ridiculous game with ridiculously stupid questions.
We need the winner from graduation day for Nathan.
We don't have it, obviously.
Oh. I was kind of listening for a second, but there was nothing. So
What, was I supposed to play something?
no, I was just saying. It just came to my head just now, so I should have thought of that before.
I should have. Well, I can play you. What can I play you?
The cat.
The cat. Well, yeah.
Oh, I forgot about the cat. I was supposed to introduce that in the second one.
Oh, there you go. Well,
Yay.
Yes.
maybe I think have we all done a quiz now? I think is it Nathan's
No,
turn?
Nathan's
has
turn. Yeah.
Yeah, remember it. Make them easy, Nathan.
Yes.
Say fill in the blank. Prom blank.
Yeah.
But,
What's
Not
this?
that
Fill in the
easy.
blank. Jamie Blank Curtis.
The dorm that dripped what?
blank.
Come.
Ooh,
Oh, pardon.
nasty.
Yes.
Don't worry, I will think of some easy ones, but not easy enough that you could Google them in a matter of seconds.
Well, you can hear
No,
someone
well, we might have a chance. Like, what color is the font?
I promise I will give you a chance because I didn't even know that prom night question. I just guessed.
Erik, you did the same thing. You asked some weird.
I know,
questions.
but I admitted afterwards I thought they were too difficult, and I told you.
Yeah,
to.
I thought you guys might know these, but evidently not.
No. Well, it'd be interesting. If you're listening at home, did you know them? If you did, then let us know. But if you didn't, let us know as well. So,
Or if you would like us to do quizzes again in the future, maybe you have questions of your own that you'd like to submit.
Okay. That should be interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll come up with some different ideas, and then we'll go back to some top threes quite soon. But the quizzes are good fun. Hopefully, you can hear us all battling away in the background. But yes, no, thank you, Joseph, for the third Hysteria Continues slasher movie quiz. And,
Hey, Nathan's 2 for 1 so far.
He is.
Well, I can't win the next one.
No, that's
No,
true.
you can't win the next one.
Eric,
Who
you've
won?
still
Who
got
won
a
the
chance.
first one? Was it Justin?
I did.
No, Justin gave it.
Matron, please, I'm not that kind of doctor.
Oh, I think you are that kind of doctor.
Oh, he is.
I
got
think
a nice
without further ado, I think I need to take you all in hand and move us on to our feature presentation. Here's the trailer for Rush Week.
The school newspaper assigns her the perfect story.
Week! Rush Week begins with a traditional reception at each house. At BDB, it ends with Friday Night Nerve!
But instead, she uncovers a dark and sordid secret about 3 Tambers College women.
My roommate, Julie McGuffin, she's missing.
And the closer she gets to unraveling the mystery,
she was letting some guy take her picture in the science building in room 302.
the more dangerous her story becomes.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. There's no murderer on our campus.
Did she say where she was going?
Said she was meeting someone in the science building.
Rush Week, a picture-perfect college with a perfectly terrifying secret.
When Tony Daniels, an ambitious student reporter, goes in search of an exciting story for the school newspaper, she discovers the dark secrets of Tambers College. 3 beautiful co-eds have disappeared, leaving behind sordid nude photos and $100 bills oddly marked with a sinister red axe. Are the disappearances somehow related to the fraternity rituals of Rush Week? Or are they linked to the tragic death of the dean's daughter? Skeletons pop from every closet, and veiled threats are made as Tony follows a twisting trail of clues to an intense and shocking surprise ending. Filled with terror and suspense, Rush Week could be the biggest story in Tony's career, if she lives to tell it. And that was from the RCA VHS release of Rush Week, and right off the bat, I have to say the ending is neither intense nor shocking, and certainly no surprise. I pretty much guessed the identity of the killer the moment the character first appeared in the film. You know, that they didn't have a neon light above his head is certainly kind of suspect, but you know what? I don't care, because Rush Week's an otherwise amazing film, and to throw in some immature gags and see what sticks variety. It's littered with a cast of kind of off-the-wall but likable, individuals. And the fashions will either bring back fond memories for some of you or make you wish you could time travel back and destroy it all, or both. There's some really lame jokes that I couldn't believe they attempted. There's a rival fraternity's Greek letters are GAE, so it stands to reason they are the targets of many kind of immature practical jokes. The school seems to have its own mortician, oddly enough. His name is Mort, of course. And the spacey journalism teacher, he's played by Cher's ex-husband, Greg Allman. And his name is Cosmo. So there you go. But it doesn't stop there. One of the missing co-eds' last name is McGuffin, and her disappearance drives the A-plot. Do you get that one? Much of these gags are hideous, but amusing, and I can't believe they went for that sort of way. The one bit I really did like was the fraternity. They hired this hooker to screw their new pledges, and then the fraternity brothers, they're kind of allowed this peep show through the wall, and but they end up peering through the eyes of Michael Berryman on a poster for The Hills Have Eyes, which I thought was kind of a clever little gag. Rush Week, there's no real rush about it, but it's light and it's breezy and it's full of cheese, and it's just inherently likable despite its clumsy approach to, aiming for a chuckle out of its audience. But, I really like it a lot. So what about you, Nathan?
Yes, I really like Rush Week. I remember the first time I watched it, I thought it was kind of generic, but rewatching it now, I liked it a lot more. I've always liked it, but I liked it more this time. I can appreciate a lot of the ridiculous scenes in it, and it may just be me, but the characters that are set up in the fraternity, the ones we're meant to like, I kind of thought they were jerks.
They are a little bit. They're likable jerks, but they're jerks, yeah.
Well, the GAE fraternity, they're pretentious, but I get the feeling that they just want to be left alone. And these guys go out of their way to make them miserable. And I'm like, they could have at least made the GAE guys tried to make them, try to get the fraternity kicked out or something, and that way they had a reason to be pranking them all the time. But it's like they're just doing all these really mean pranks to them.
Well, how
for
about
no
the bit
good
with
reason.
the finger in the guy's food? Yeah, how about the bit with the finger? I mean, he put an actual finger in his food. Isn't that kind of cruel?
Why did they prank the hooker? I mean, she was doing them a favor and making them money. I mean,
yeah, she was doing her
job. Why would they prank her? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I also like the poor acting skills. Like, I love the scene where Tony, has the recorder, and she's recording the dean talking to the girl with the missing roommate, Julie McGuffin, and she listens back to the recorder, and the acting by the dean and that girl is so bad because it sounds just like they set a script in front of them, and they're just reading it into the recorder. My roommate is missing. Well, I'm sure there's a logical explanation. I mean, I'm not saying that verbatim. I don't remember the exact dialogue, but it's just the way it's read back. It just doesn't sound like a girl that's really concerned at all. Let's see. And of course, Rush Week uses an axe, which obviously I'm going to love it just because of that, because I love axes.
Battle axe.
Yeah, I love that. Axe. I mean, I think that's awesome. And I love the final chase scene with the girl, even if the heroine is, kind of dumb. Because, first she's wearing these heels, and it's really loud. So it's not really, she can't really sneak around that hallway when you hear clack, clack, clack. And also there's, anytime she goes in a room, she'll either knock something over where he can hear her, or she'll see something and go really loud. So, I mean, she's constantly just alerting the killer where she's at. But there is a really good scene where she opens the door and the killer's standing right there with an axe, and he smashes the axe through the door. Now, I thought that was really well done. So overall, I really enjoy Rush Week, and it ends on a very, very catchy song that a girl was lip-syncing to earlier. Very obviously lip-syncing, I might add.
Yeah, I have to throw in one more thing. I think the film, for me, it reminds me a lot of Killer Party, where it's I don't think it's a great, as far as slasher film cliches are concerned, but it's a fun film. I think it has that kind of ambiance to it. Would you agree, Nathan?
Well, I mean, I agree in a way, but Rush Week to me is lesser than Killer Party. Killer Party's perfection.
I think it's a little lesser than Killer Party, but it reminds me of Killer Party within that.
I can see why you would think that.
Where everyone's just having a good time, kind of thing. But what about you, Eric? What do you think of Rush Week?
I found I had never seen Rush Week before, so I was new to it. If I had seen this maybe 10, 15 years ago, or when it came out first in 1991, I probably would have hated it, I have to say, because the slasher movie element and the horror and the suspense really isn't great, I have to say. I like it because it's a fantastic little time capsule of, I think it was filmed in 1989, and it has that real very late 80s feel to it. It reminds me of all those films around that time, like Prom Night 3, Horror Show, Halloween 5, Cutting Class, I, Madman. They all have this very similar type of look. It's kind of a soft focus and a slightly made for TV quality, which doesn't mean I don't like it. It's actually a compliment, if you will. I love the dated look. I think makes it for me, really. The Batwing jumpers and the headbands, of course that cheesy song that woman was lip syncing to that Nathan mentioned. I love that song.
I do too.
Yeah,
I love it.
And Meep actually pointed out on our Facebook page that his favourite part of Rush Week is the girl with the side ponytail. So I'd have to agree with him there. I mean, there's just so many fashion disasters. As you were saying, if you could travel back in time, would you destroy them? And I would say no, keep them, because they're what make the film what they are. I mean, the end of the film, I think, is quite effective, where the killer is stalking. What's the name of the actor? The character again?
Tony Daniels.
Tony Daniels, that's it. I thought that was quite well done. And the killer's outfit is effective. It's kind of like Scream, but with a kind of a... I don't even know what the mask is supposed to be. It looks like...
The mask actually looks like the Emperor from Star Wars.
Or it looks like porridge, just sort of mushed up and dried out. Yeah. There is humour in the film, and as you know, humour isn't in horror isn't something I particularly like. But I didn't mind it in this instance. It's not too distracting. I mean, there's that comedy sequence where they have a bicycle race, which lasts for a couple of minutes, but I mean, it's not as if the film itself is deadly serious. It's not as jarring as in Halloween 5, for example, where the comedy cops come on with their stupid music accompanying them. For me, John Donovan steals the show completely as Arnold the photographer. I mean, he commands the screen for every second he's on it. He actually sounds like he could be from Tennessee. Is he a neighbor of yours?
I don't know. I tried to find him because I wanted to interview him, but that's such a common name.
Another star of the show for me, actually, is Byron's hair.
Byron's hair. I forgot to
It's
mention
unbelievable.
Byron's
It's this huge big perm that I thought would have been out of fashion by 1989.
It's
but
like a
obviously
perm mullet or something. I don't know.
It's totally. It's like Leo Sayer or something. I also like the new wave punky bands they have playing in their sorority or fraternity house. The Dickies are in there, yeah.
Yeah, the Dickies.
Of course, I love their theme song to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's a fantastic rendition. And this one, they look really like the Damned, which were I don't know if you got them over in the States. They were a UK punk band.
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. I did enjoy the film. For me, the thrill of seeing something that looks so incredibly dated was probably provided more fun than the horror element. But I'd still recommend it.
Okay. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, well, I saw Rush Week, God knows, many years ago, and I've got the old VHS, which has got a fantastic cover, which I'll scan in for when I put it up on Facebook. But I remember I've been vastly underwhelmed by it and not really remembering much about it at all. And to be honest, I had a similar reaction to it this time. I enjoyed it probably a little bit more, but it reminded me very much of like back in the 80s when I used to go around friends' house and watch kind of those kind of Sub-Porky's films. The kind of real, the millionth knockoff of Lemon Popsicle or something like that, or Revenge of the Nerds. Those kind of films that they really pumped out even more so than slasher movies in the mid to late 80s, and it was kind of like that most of the way through it. And I agree. The end chase scene was the only bit that actually got me kind of quite sort of invested in it. I thought it actually worked really well, and I thought it was actually right up there with some of the best chase scenes in any slasher movie. But it's a long slog to get to it. I think, but this time I knew it was going to be like that, so it didn't annoy me so much. But I think if you went into it to watch it as a slasher movie, you might, if you didn't really get off on the cheese, and the Sub-Porky's frat house humour, you probably would get a little bit annoyed with it. And so I think is kind of being, being forearmed, pre-warned is forearmed, in that instance. I kind of, with all of that in mind, it was kind of, I quite enjoyed it. I mean, it's borrowing stuff like all the dead body stuff is from Terror Train. They kind of borrowed that. I thought it kind of inspired. I did wonder if inspired urban legends. With the whole kind of journalist going around investigating murders, because they used that kind of gimmick in urban legend, didn't they?
I wonder if it. Yeah, I thought of that as well, but I also wonder if it kind of influenced Scream with the killer's look. And plus, there's bits where they kind of get self-referential and they wink at the camera, and one of the characters says, "What is it? This is real life. This isn't some stupid horror movie."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it has Dominic Braskia, who did. He's got a small role, and plus he did Evil Laugh, which does that whole Scream thing way before Scream. So I wonder if they kind of played off one another.
He must be one of the oldest frat boys in history, mustn't he?
He's like 60, and he's like.
But what I really liked actually at the beginning of the film was that kind of whole prowling around the campus, wasn't it? With the kind of it was kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street music. You kind of sets it up to be quite a spooky film, and obviously then goes straight into someone putting their trousers down at a party, and then someone whipping their top off and their boobs flying about and knocking a chandelier. It was kind of like, so then you knew exactly what you were in for.
I wonder if. Sorry, I was just going to ask you, Justin, or all of you actually, but did you have the same problem with the film? I think one of my problems with this film is that all the characters. I'm going to get into slight spoiler territory here. I guess we kind of have to, but all of the characters that end up being like stalked and killed, they're all so minor. All of the major characters don't really have any kind of confrontation with the killer. It's like this girl, the Tony Daniels, she's investigating all these disappearances, but it's of all these like inconsequential characters that you don't really know, and that kind of bothered me. I mean, I liked most of the characters. I kind of actually wanted to see some of them in peril. I thought it might have upped it a little bit in the more slasher sweepstakes type of thing.
Another question what leads on from that was, obviously the girls that are being killed are the ones that are posing for this kind of kinky, more than kinky thing, but like posing with a dead body. Was the killer, without saying who the killer was, but was the killer the one who was paying for these photos to be taken, do you think? Because
I think it was implied that way he could trap them and go after them because he knew where they were and he knows what they're doing. And I know that they mentioned that he ended up buying. He was purchasing some photos from the Donovan character, the Arnold Cragen.
Right. Yeah. And I just wondered because then it turned out that I mean, obviously, are we going to spoil it? Because we normally do, don't we? And let's face it, we're not talking about I don't know the end reveal of.
This is a spoiler warning. So
it's not the Sixth Sense we're talking about here, is it? Or Psycho or anything like that. We're talking about Rush Week, but yeah, the killer turns out to be is it Roy Fiennes? If that's how you say his name.
The dean.
The dean, which and the other thing that got me with this film, just going off on a slight tangent, was that for 3/4 of the film, there's no blood at all. You don't see a single drop of blood.
No.
There's these
it cuts
murders.
away every time he swings the battle axe down, and the one that gets the most grisly death is the Arnold Cragen character. I thought
exactly. It's all the women when they get killed. There's no blood. But when the men get killed. You get quite a gory axe wound, and then of course there's a very quite effective decapitation at the end, isn't there? Which is kind of and it's very gory, and I don't really understand why they shied away from gore all the way through the film, and then in the last 10 minutes they kind of, I mean, we're not talking about nightmares and a damaged brain or anything like that, but we're talking enough to give it an R rating. But then the rest of the film, it's kind of it could easily, apart from all the boobage, it could easily have played on TV, couldn't it?
Yeah, it did. I know it played on USA Up All Night. That's where I first saw it. It's in '91.
Oh man.
It's right.
I have
right
bad
before
memories.
that show. Right before that show went off the air, they played that, and I remember watching that.
Did you have nudity on that, or did they edit that?
No, it's a cable station, but it's not one of the paid cable stations. Or it is now, but it's not. It wasn't back then.
Okay, Nathan, why did you have bad memories of that?
Well, when I was a little kid, we still had TV Guide, the actual guide itself. And I remember reading, it was about 3 a.m. on a Friday night / Saturday morning, and Rush Week was going to come on. And, as a young kid, I'd never heard of it. So I was very excited about this axe maniac stalking a college campus. So I begged my mother to let me stay awake so I could watch it. And she said, fine, since I had no school on Saturday. And then at about 1:32 in the morning, I fell asleep and I missed it. And this was during the time where, the only other option I had was to try to find it at a local video store, and none of them had it. So I was so upset that I wrote my mother a note the next morning and said, I will not speak again until I get to see that movie. like it was her fault or something. I mean, like what was I thinking? Of course, like an hour later, I was chatting again. I was just very, and I didn't have anybody else to be mad at but myself.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't go on a hunger strike.
I can't go on any hunger strike.
No, we did that. We tried that. It didn't really work too well. That's probably right around the same time I saw it, because it was real late at night, and it was like 90 or 91, and I remember.
Well, you could have recorded it for me.
I didn't know you back then.
God, it's sort of childhood traumas. So, I mean,
it was traumatic.
Yeah, is it a good time now? Because we come back to talk a little bit more about the film afterwards. But good time to have a chat with the writer. Do you want to
let's do that,
Joseph?
Yeah, this is Russ Manzat. He wrote the film. He co-wrote the film. It was by an idea by Michael Lighton. I can't remember his name, but he was brought in to kind of revamp the script, and actually talked to him way back in, I guess it was January or February, so he's probably wondering if we're ever going to get this up. Ooh. But here we go. This is the writer, Russ Manzat.
Security.
I need your help. Somebody's killed 2 women with an axe.
An axe murder, you say?
Yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Please, listen, please.
This wouldn't be happening in the vicinity of the BDB house by any chance, would it?
No. In the science building, room 302.
Why don't you come in and fill out a report?
This isn't a prank. It's serious. My name is
All right, ladies and gents, I'm going to dust off my interview skills today, or lack thereof, and speak with Russell Manzat, the writer of Rush Week. He's graciously agreed to answer some questions today. First off, how's it going, Russ?
Going good.
Excellent. Okay, to start, according to the Internet Movie Database, you're credited alongside Michael W. Leighton as having written Rush Week. Who came up with the initial premise, and more specifically, when?
Well, Michael Leighton was the producer, and he brought me the script, or I actually was recommended to him to rewrite a script. And so, as far as I know, it was his idea, which he started to develop, and then I came on board. So it was his idea.
Do you recall what kind of changes were made?
It's been a while, but I do remember that I made a lot of changes, and I was trying to tone down some of the, more embarrassing aspects of it, like the thing with the gay house and all that stuff. But Michael was the boss, so a lot of that stuff stayed in. And the good thing about having a co-writer is when people don't like something, you can blame him.
Oh yeah, I was quite surprised at all the homophobic slurs and gay jokes. I mean, it was a pretty obscene amount.
Well, Michael had very strong opinions about a lot of stuff, and I don't know that was one of them. We didn't discuss it a lot, but it was there and he wanted it, so.
Yeah, what can you do? There are varying sources saying the film was released in 89, and then others say 91. Do you happen to know the correct year? I mean, because I first saw it on USA Up All Night back in, it had to have been 90 or 91, so I'm not too sure myself.
89 or before.
I've always thought it had a specific Canadian feel to it, even though I'm not 100% sure it was shot there. Do you know where it was shot?
The film was shot here in Los Angeles, the campus of the VA hospital, or the VA, not hospital, but there's a big VA facility here in West LA near UCLA actually. And it looks like a little bit like a campus because there are a lot of, separate buildings and a lot of grounds and walkways and lights and stuff. And so, yeah, it was shot at the VA here in Los Angeles.
Well, thanks for clearing that up. I mean, a lot of these films, they cheat. They want you to think that it's in America, but you'll catch a character wearing a Canadian jersey, or you'll see a street that is obviously in a Canadian city somewhere. But, yeah, I never was quite sure where it was filmed, actually.
Well, now that I think of it, it could have been that they had a second unit go up and look and shoot city scenes or something. I don't remember too much city scene being in the movie, but they could have had a second unit that shot some of the stuff up there, but no, it was here.
Excellent. Were you allowed on set of the film?
Yes, I was there because there were a lot of rewrites going on during the shooting, and I needed to be there.
Okay. How about behind the scenes stuff? Any stories you wish to tell? Anything you can remember specifically?
Well, nothing specific. I just enjoyed being there. It was only my second feature, and my first one on my own. I'd written with a partner years before that, and we had something they'd done before, but this was mine, and so I was excited to be there. And it was just in the low budget world, but it was pretty cool. So I did meet Greg Allman, as he was one of my heroes anyway, and musical heroes, and that's pretty much it. I'm trying to remember if anything. No, I mean, one funny thing is I became friends with Pamela Ludwig because I met her there. She was the star. She played Tony, and she used to kid me all the time later because I wrote the scene in there where she had to be covered with spiders, tarantulas, and so that was kind of fun. I got to watch that. But that, I can't think of anything that would be that interesting to anybody.
Okay, according to the Internet Movie Database again, you worked with the director, Bob Brolver, twice on this, and with Michael Dudikoff and Mark Hamill on Midnight Ride. Were you two close, like friends, or, were your collaborations more along the lines of right place, right time?
We met when we were both teachers here in Los Angeles, and he was already working trying to get into the world of stunts. And eventually he did that and left teaching right before I did. And so we were social friends. And then when I got this gig to do the rewrite on Rush Week, I brought his name up as a possible director because I knew that he was interested in directing. So that's how he became the director of that. And then he returned the favor when he got the Midnight Ride money together. So yeah, we knew each other.
Cool. Have you seen Rush Week recently? Has it been a while?
I was just quickly scanning the script before you called, just so I could remember, some of the details. But I haven't seen it. And I don't even know if I have a copy of it. If you want to know the truth, I lost it. I had it on tape. The answer is no. I haven't seen it lately.
All right. What did you think of Rush Week when it was all said and done?
Well, for what it was, I thought it was effective. I thought it did the job. Anytime you're involved in something like this, you sort of cringe at certain things afterwards, and you think, oh, they should have done it this way, or I wish they hadn't done that. But overall, I thought for a low-budget, horror flick, slasher movie, it worked pretty well. I thought Pamela's performance was good, and Bob did a pretty good job for a fledgling director, I thought. And we were all working under budget constraints and everything else. And speaking of rushing, everything's, you got like a 7 or 8 day shooting schedule. So, it's interesting. So no, I thought it was okay.
Okay. Do you know if it got a theatrical release, or was it just straight to video?
Well, you know what? I don't think it ever got released in this country theatrically. It was back then, there was a whole market for low-budget movies that were going to go direct to video. And they did. And this was one of them. And so as far as it might have shown on television, but I'm not, I don't know when or where, but I don't think it had a theatrical release here.
All right, Russ. Well, thanks for taking a trip down memory lane with us today.
Well, you're welcome. And please let me know when I can hear it.
All right, cool. I will definitely do that.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Russ.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ms. Daniels, is there a possibility, just a possibility, that this blood stain was the result of something other than murder? An example. The student or the professor of anatomy uses a scalpel for a dissection. The scalpel slips, blood falls on the floor.
Yes, but...
Is it possible?
It's possible, but the blood type matches Julianne's.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. There's no murderer on our campus.
All right, that was me speaking with Russ Manzat. He's a very nice fellow. I'm going to send this episode to him. Hopefully he'll enjoy that. But, I'm glad he had some memories about the family. I know there wasn't a whole lot, but I'm glad he had a few little tidbits because digging up information on Rush Week, I've not been too successful. The only thing I can really say is that the director, Bob Brawler, he had a more illustrious career as a stuntman. And then I know, as it was said in the interview, it was filmed in or around 1989, but it didn't get a video release until 91. And that's really all I can dig up about it. Does anyone else have any info on this? Justin, Nathan, Erik? Wait, whoa. Nathan?
No.
Yay!
All right, what about you, Erik?
I have a really juicy bit of information, actually. You ready for this? Roy Fiennes, or whatever his name is pronounced, who plays the Dean in the film, I saw him last weekend in an episode of Murder, She Wrote.
Ooh.
There we go. That's all my information.
Fantastic.
What about you, Justin?
Not much, really, apart from I found out the film was actually made in 1988, rather than 89. But just going back through all variety issues, and it was just saying that it was shot. It might have even been shot kind of sort of in late 87 or the beginning of 88, because the earliest mention I've seen is from the beginning of May in 1988, and it's talking about the murder mystery with an appearance by rock performer Greg Allman. And it's in 91. It says talks about it being a belated direct-to-video release. The thing was, the film was shot on 35mm, so presumably they wouldn't have shot it on 35mm if it was meant to be a direct-to-video. I wouldn't have thought. Because certainly back then there were quite a few films being made for the direct-to-video market, weren't there? So a lot of those were shot on video. So I think Russ Manzat talks about where it was filmed, and on IMDb it's got some information. It tells you where. If you are a huge Rush Week fan, you can go and visit the locations in Los Angeles where the film was shot. But that's about it, really. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There's not really. It's difficult, apart from the main woman who played Tony, and I can't remember her full real name now, actually.
It's Pamela Ludwig.
That's right. It was her last film, wasn't it? She,
Yeah.
I mean, she's still around, but this kind of killed her career stone dead, or she was so mortified about being in the film, I don't know, but she didn't make any other films after this. And I thought she was quite good in it. You know, she's one of the better, you know, actors in the film, and I thought she was quite, you know, pretty and kind of, you know, a relatively strong screen presence. So, yes, she vanished after making this. They obviously the other person, I think the first victim, wasn't she? Is it Kathleen Kinmont? Was in Halloween 4 or 5? Was it
4?
5. Was it 4?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
she,
4, okay.
Yeah, and she's in Bride of Reanimator as well.
So she was in it, but and I think the main guy is now a producer. I think quite a famous producer.
He's also a short film director now as well.
Right.
Is that Dean Hamilton? Is it?
Dean Hamilton, yeah. And the director, I mean, he just did loads of TV. I think this is his only film one. But like Joe said, I mean, he was better known as a stuntman. And I've seen some reviews for Rush Week saying, well, it was a bit bizarre that he was so well known as a stuntman, but there weren't really any stunts in the film, were there, apart from the fight scene at the end, which was, well, apart from maybe the crashes on the motorbikes and stuff like that. But
I noticed there's a few slasher films that the directors turn out to be stuntmen, like Scream from 1981. Byron Quisenberry turned out to be a stuntman, and that was his last film. I mean, is there some kind of curse with stuntmen directing slasher films? Is that their like final nail in the coffin? Then they have to go back to, you know, kind of falling from buildings or getting run over by cars? Is that what, are they doomed to that? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, I did wonder actually with this film whether or not it was a film that was meant to be made earlier, because obviously it was really at the tail end of the slasher boom, wasn't it? I mean, it was pretty much into the slasher movie wilderness when this was made, and didn't Russ Manzat say that he kind of rewrote, he was brought in to kind of rewrite some of it? And I wonder
he actually had a problem with a lot of the like Nathan said, a lot of the bullying and gay jokes and stuff. He actually had a problem with that, but then I think it was the producer actually wanted that in there, so, you know, he was kind of, you know, put over a barrel and he had to keep it in there. But you dirty boys.
Excellent. Well done, Nathan.
It seems a little bit rickety, Doctor.
Is it? Yes, but of course it's fairly easy to get it up. It's getting it to stay up. That's what counts.
Yes, there hasn't been enough
the gay bullying did stick out for me. Now, I know that it was probably just to show up that the BDB fraternity were idiots, basically.
They're immature idiots.
Yeah, but it still stood out, I thought, to me, the way that they bully these people. And as Nathan said, that there's no real reason. I mean, if they'd set up the GAE fraternity as being idiots as well, maybe it would have helped.
Or if the GAE were, you know, like Nathan said, if they were just kind of like jerks, but they were actually kind of nice. They were pretentious, you know, they were stuck on themselves, but they didn't do anything wrong.
No.
I feel that if they would have just left GAE alone, then they wouldn't have had anything, you know, there wouldn't have been any problems. Like
there probably wouldn't have been much of a movie either, because the whole movie's pretty much one big long frat joke.
Yeah. But it's just they were causing all the problems, and we're supposed to like them. And I'm not saying I didn't like them, but it made it a little more difficult to do so.
Well, I thought it was interesting the way they set up Jeff and Byron as assholes at the start, but then you end up kind of liking them at the end. Or was it just me? Maybe it was Byron's hair. I think I fell in love with more than anything.
I did like Jeff, but Byron's kind of, I don't know, he might have been a little too stupid for me.
Well, Byron was a little, I think he was a little like obsessed with Jeff, because he always wanted him to do like his frat jokes and his.
There is kind of a homoerotic subtext between Jeff.
It's like, come on, Jeff, you have some real responsibilities here. And I love how, I forgot to mention this, but I love how they try to go out of their way to make Jeff look like the killer. I mean, every time someone gets killed, he's like, I'm going out to get some air, or she, you know, you scared her away. I better go make sure she doesn't call the cops. And then he disappears, and then they get killed. And then it shows him with that battle axe, like during the fraternity thing. So they obviously want you to think he's the murderer.
Yeah, but when I was watching the film first, I thought, you know, maybe maybe he is the killer. Maybe they've gone the Friday the 13th A New Beginning route, where they make it so obvious that they make you think it's not the killer.
See, it's obvious it's the Dean, because his character is just so perfunctory. I mean, what point is he in the film? He only shows up to kind of like stay away from this.
What I want to know is, spoiler alert, how does he end up dressed identically to the killer at the end?
I don't know.
Is that just sheer coincidence?
I don't remember. It's like
kind of a stupid plot point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like they want you so bad to think that he's the killer. Now, if they really wanted to be surprising, they should have made Byron the killer.
Yeah,
because if you haven't seen the film, because Erik makes a very good point. The final girl is running away from the killer, and then she confronts the killer, who she thinks is the killer, because they're dressed identically to the killer in a long black robe with like an old crone mask, whatever it is, and a battle axe.
Well, they are having that Halloween party, so I mean, he just so happens to dress up in the same manner, though. That's kind of.
But it's just bizarre, isn't it? Because she knocks him out, and then it turns out he's not the killer. That's actually her boyfriend. And the killer's behind her, dressed in exactly the same way, and it's just, I mean, it doesn't obviously bear any kind of criticism, any kind of studying at all, but it's it's kind of one of those films which, to be honest, I think, and apart from us rescuing it from obscurity, I think it's one of those films that probably languishes, in obscurity. It's not a film that gets talked about very often at all, is it?
No. To change the subject, going back to what you said, Justin, where you think it was filmed in like 88 or instead of 89 or maybe even 87. Now that I look at it, it does have sort of that like 87, 88 kind of fashion sense going on about it. Especially Byron's hair. I mean, that's like some Gary Spivey voodoo magic going on his head.
Totally, yeah.
It's like a pubic crash helmet, isn't it?
Oh, I wonder if the drapes match the curtain.
Oh, gosh, I hope not.
Just ask Jeff. I'm sure he knows.
Right.
That's his fraternity's responsibility.
Do you think John Donovan's drapes matches curtains?
What curtains?
Yeah, it's got curtains.
Exactly.
That's what I mean.
He's all natural. He's Brazilian or bikini or whatever they call it.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to say you have to give props to the people at the end to be able to have a bunch of drunk people in the house wanting to party and to keep it that quiet while the dean is there until he explodes. Yeah. I mean, they deserve props for being able to stay that silent.
And also props for being able to celebrate with a big party after a serial killer mass murder on the campus.
Yeah. It's all these people are dead, and they're just sitting there partying like, whatever, who cares?
Also, I don't know if you noticed, but their party looks identical to the one they had at the beginning.
Yes.
I like the way that they're sort of giving a pat on the back for decapitating the evil dean at the end. It's like Scooby-Doo.
Way to go.
Yeah.
You'll get your obvious 4.0 average, since he's dead.
Yeah. Well, that's Rush Week for you. So, are you going to be rushing out to watch it? And if you do, let us know.
You should.
You should, because John Donovan's in it.
Yes, and Eric's favourite new actor, isn't he?
He's the new Robert De Niro.
Is he? Okay, right.
Yeah.
But maybe not the in a thespian sense.
Do as you're goddamn told, Julie.
Right,
John Donovan impression.
Yes, very good. It is too. Was there anything else I want to say about Rush Week before we move on to some feedback?
No, I like Rush Week.
Can I just ask one question? Why did the money that was handed over to the girls have the axe symbol on it? Does anyone know?
That's another. I don't know. I did wonder that.
I don't remember. I think he was tracking the money, seeing where it was going. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that because all the models who model for this photographer are paid with cash that has the symbol on it, and I was like,
I think it was just another excuse to make you think John Donovan was the killer because he's got a sinister
convenient plot point.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
Because the women were modelling with a corpse, but one of them, the first one, wasn't modelling with a corpse. She was modelling with a model that looked like a corpse.
Yeah, because he says, next time I'll use a real corpse or something like that, he said, yeah.
But then it is a real corpse, isn't it, in the other ones?
Yeah.
Well, not a real corpse, but someone painted white.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, but it's, I don't know, the mysteries of 80s, late 80s slash movies, so...
I think I'll write a thesis about it as soon as we're finished.
Okay, yes. Well, tell us all about
You call it Donovan Week?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's move off that, shall we?
Okay. Let's get out of here. It's going to hell.
Okay, well, Joseph, before it all goes completely cockeyed, before Erik does, so feedback. Do you want to give us some details about how people can get in contact with the show?
Yeah, you can reach us. You can send us a voicemail. It's 858-233-9281. We're on Twitter, twitter.com/THC_podcast. You can find us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/The Hysteria Continues. If you'd like to Till Dusk Do Us Part, mine and Nathan's movie, it's facebook.com/Till Dusk Do Us Part. You can find us on The Body Count Continues. You can just Google search The Body Count Continues, or you can go to the-bodycount-continues.com. And what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something.
Can we plug Hysteria Lives Facebook as well? Because Justin's been putting up some great reviews of 1981 from newspaper clippings from 1981, which are really interesting.
Yeah, go to Facebook and just search for Hysteria Lives. I don't have the actual ending URL at the moment, Justin. Sorry, but I'm sure people can find that by searching
they
for.
Can find it by searching for it. But yeah, I've just been putting up sort of reviews from classic/movies, shows how much most mainstream critics hated them. So it's quite revealing, isn't it? Really.
Great fun, though.
Definitely.
Yeah, great fun.
But also, let's see. Oh yeah, the email address. You can email us. That's the.hysteria.continues@gmail.com. We do love feedback, so send what you have. Oh, and the Hysteria Lives URL is hysteria-lives after facebook.com.
Yes. Excellent. Well, there's a lot to take in there. So, how about feedback? Have we got? Has anyone got any feedback? I've got a couple of bits.
I have one from Dean Allen. He writes in. He says, "Hey guys, massive fan of your podcast and following a mammoth marathon of nonstop listening over the past few days. I'm all hysteria'd out, shall I say. I would like to demand a weekly podcast, however, in fear that I'll start developing withdrawal symptoms if you leave it too long before next time. I'm probably not the only one, but I really love the cheese-tastic intros to your podcasts. And in fact, I have made a lot of them my alarm to wake up to get ready for work in the mornings. As you can imagine, Linda Day George's infamous bastard shriek really helps to kickstart my day more so than any caffeine fix ever could. However, perhaps the Black Christmas intro with the caller snarling the C word wasn't the best idea for a 6 a.m. wake-up call. My boyfriend wasn't too pleased with that one. Anyway, I've also got to blame you all for a serious decline in my bank balance. I've been on a massive spending spree this past week in between purchasing my mandatory new Arrow first day purchase releases, which I think I'm addicted to, and it's worrying. At this rate, I'd probably even buy Care Bears the movie if Arrow released it on Blu-ray. But anyway, I've been trying to get a hold of some of the slasher films you've mentioned in previous podcasts that I missed out on before. Of course, as you guys know, the baby Jesus really does like to help out from time to time. However, he's failed me by not delivering to me New Year's Evil, which I know many slasher fans don't hold up to in high regard, but nevertheless, I really want and need to check out this New Year's slasher. And if I can interject there, I know that I think it was at Warner Brothers or someone is about to put that out on Blu-ray or DVD.
It's on on-demand DVD, isn't it?
I think someone's actually releasing it to Blu-ray. Hold on, I know Body Boy posted about it on the MGM. It's a release of one New Year's Evil from 1980 by MGM. Is it MOD service? Movie on Demand, is that what that is?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I guess that's not Blu-ray. So sorry to get your hopes up there.
Well, no, the movie on demand version of Night School was excellent. So,
talking of Blu-ray, just sorry to interject, is Jeff on who's posts on my Facebook wall, Hysteria Lives, works at Shout Factory, and he was talking about the Blu-ray special edition of Terror Train, which is going to be coming out later in the year. So
no way.
So it's worth keeping an eye out for that.
All right. Well, he also says, thank you also for introducing me to The Slayer. Even though the copy I have is pretty unwatchable, the creepy atmosphere still seeps through the screen, and it's easily one of my favorites from the era now. I also checked out The Initiation, which I loved, especially the ending, which is totally absurd, but so much fun that I had a smile plastered across my face for the whole 90 minutes. Humongous had its charms and places, and the climax of the film was somewhat satisfying, but the one scene I've tried and cannot get out of my head was that dancing on the boat. Pure genius. Just a few individual messages. Erik makes me laugh out loud a lot every episode, which makes me look crazy laughing by myself at traffic lights on the way to work. Also, overall, I tend to agree with him on a lot of his likes and dislikes of the genre. To Justin, I finally picked up a copy of Teenage Wasteland, and I cannot put it down. You have depicted the perfect book for an obsessed slasher freak like myself. And kudos on the lush design of the book. It looks amazing. Joseph, you've tempted me to delve into the found footage genre more and more, and I'm anxiously awaiting at the moment for a copy of Lake Mungo, and that is a terrific film, by the way, to arrive in the post, not via Baby Jesus. And Nathan, I love that your movie picks can be outlandish and that you love the dirty horror movies not many fans of the genre will admit to liking, but it really makes for interesting discussion. Okay, I know that this is now rivaling War and Peace by this point, but just wanted to give my input that my first ever slasher was when I was 8 years old and at my local video store in South Wales. My mother tried her very best to entice me with cartoons in the kids section, but it was the sight of a killer doll in the horror section which caught my eye, which led me to begging to see it. And so my slasher obsession commenced with a killer doll by the name of Chucky. I'd be interested to find out your opinions on the first movie if you decide to cover it in the future, since I'm probably in the minority when I say that the first two films were great. The third was just okay, and the Bride and Seed of Chucky are completely disposable. When the humor takes over the horror that much, I tend to switch off. Suspiria is another suggestion, as it's one of my all-time favorites, and perhaps a Jessica Harper interview would be cool. She's a lovely lady and even agreed to sign my poster and return it back to me in the UK. Anyway, thanks for reading and let the hysteria continue. That was from Dean Allen.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you
yeah, thanks, Dean.
That was great.
Yeah, thank you.
And a nice little feedback for all of us. So yeah, that was great. So yeah, keep on listening. Erik, have you got anything for us?
No.
Dare I ask?
That's my Nathan impression. I don't have anything, no.
No, but you, Nathan, have you got anything for us?
No. That's my Erik impression.
Ooh, wow. Very good.
Ooh.
Yeah,
sexy.
Very butch. It's not like
well, I am butch.
Right, well, I've got...
why are you laughing?
Not laughing.
I am.
Erik actually looks like
with
John
you.
Cochran.
So, yeah, we're not laughing with you, Erik. We're laughing at you.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. So you haven't got anything?
No.
No. Okay. Good. All right. Good. Okay. All right. Well, I've just got 1.5 emails here from Terry in Belgium, who says, I don't have much to say about the final terror because I've only seen the first 20 minutes, which is not enough to give a fair review. However, I saw Savage Weekend on YouTube, but the sound quality was less than average, I must say. So English not being my mother tongue, I did not understand the whole dialogue. You told that you saw the Paragon version, which obviously cut because you said there was no nudity. But as far as I can remember on the YouTube version, there was nudity, very dry in the gore level. Which I'm surprised they would allow the nudity on YouTube. Maybe just haven't caught it because they're really hot on that, aren't they? Mm. So he says, I liked it for its weirdness and its arty pace. However, like Nathan, I think it was Nathan, I think that none of the characters are particularly interesting, although the gay character was quite fun, I must say, and the bar scene with him was quite fun, like you said, and you don't really care for them. What I also liked in the film is, of course, the mask, which was also quite impressive and effective. Like you, Justin, I did not find who the killer was. I did not think he was that obvious. I hope you'll be interviewing any actor or any cast members who worked on a slasher movie from the 80s or 70s, because it's been a while. Been a while since I've listened to an interview. Well, there was Adrienne King from Friday the 13th, and she was lovely, and she seems to be a very nice person. I do understand it must be very difficult to be in touch with the actors, though. And, I mean, that is the case, isn't it? When we try and get in contact with people, we do try,
you win some, you lose some.
Well, exactly, and quite often we get in contact with somebody who says, yes, they'll do it, and then they obviously listen to the podcast, and then we never hear from them again, which has obviously happened quite a few times, isn't it?
We scare them off.
But yes, I mean there's a few others we're trying to get in contact with. It says, question for Nathan. I would like to see your found footage short films. I think he may be talking about some of your the ones you shot, and he's asked where he can view them.
Oh, they're on YouTube. They're not found footage, but yeah, they're on YouTube. If you search for like the Old Federal Massacre or Voodoo Massacre or Hairdresser Massacre in YouTube, it'll pull it up, and then if you just click on my username, it'll bring up all the movies that I did. Well, not all of them. I still got a few I haven't posted yet, but...
Okay, right, all right. Well, thank you, Nathan. And Terry signs off by saying, most of you have been drinking quite a lot, I heard. Hey. And like you said, Justin, wine and gin don't mix. So... yes, that's very true. He also wrote back with just a little extra note. It says, me again, just wanted to add that I like your quiz. Good idea. And I must say, I was quite impressed with your slasher films knowledge. Obviously, won't be after today's example. But
yeah,
he says,
you're aiming that comment at me, aren't you?
No, not just at you. Well, no, me as well. He says, I consider myself as an expert, but I am way as good as you. So I think it maybe means I'm not as good as you. I think you answered the Joseph's questions. I only had one good answer, and it's blood tracks. Very difficult questions. He signs off by saying, when are you going to review Giallos? Because they like slasher movies with added style and substance. I mean, you've already reviewed 3 Giallo, but it's not a lot. So, yeah, I think it's probably coming up to time to do another Giallo episode. I don't know if you guys would be up for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We should do some more.
Yeah, definitely.
I've really been wanting to cover Torso.
Okay.
And Tenebrae and...
Yeah. I mean, we've got for homework for next time. Are we still going with? It's Nathan's your pick, isn't it? Next.
Yep.
And what are we going with? Are you happy to say?
Oh yes, we're going with it's not human and it's got an axe, and that would be the creature from The Prey.
Yes. So yeah.
We also have an interview with Lori Lathine, and if I can interject for a second, I know Nathan runs her Facebook page. He's got autographs for her up on her Facebook page. So go to her Facebook page. It's facebook.com, and then it's Lori-Lathine, Lathin, and she has some autographed pictures on there for sale. You should purchase some of those.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's going to be quite a fun episode, I think, isn't it, Nathan?
Yes, it will.
It will be very fun.
I'm very excited.
Yes. Okay.
It'll be one of the funnest in a long time.
It will be. Hopefully, will be. And we'll, Nathan, would you do the wide-mouthed frog song for us?
If you want me to, I will.
I think you should.
You got to be playing a banjo as well.
Yes.
I don't have a banjo, but somebody can. I nominate Erik to do the banjo music.
I'm not familiar with the song.
Well, you'll watch the movie and you'll know because it's in the movie.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the movie, but it was last year sometime, so I can't recall the song.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is for next. This is for the next episode. You want to do
for
it?
the next
sorry.
episode.
I thought you meant now. Sorry.
No, we wouldn't put you on the spot like that.
Yeah.
But yes, well, that should be. Quite
as you know, I've got a voice of an angel, so yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Well, we put it to the test next time, Erik.
Yep.
Won't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Well, has there got anything else to say before? I think we're going to sign off with a short interview, aren't we, with Debbie Sue Voorhees?
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, shall we go to that now? And we'll kind of finish up.
And we'll come back then. Yeah. This is Debbie Sue Voorhees, who played Tina in Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, and she is in London at the moment at the Misty Moon Gallery, which is where I met Adrienne King in April. And this is a short interview I did with her. I did another interview with her talking about A New Beginning, and we're going to broadcast that at a later date. This is me talking to her about what she's doing right at the moment, and I first asked her what she is doing in London at the moment.
I came to London to have the world premiere for my film Billy Shakespeare. It's a comedy that asks the question, what would happen if William Shakespeare never existed until now? Nobody ever heard of Hamlet, Macbeth, nothing like that. Just he hits the streets trying to sell his screenplays now.
And is he using the same type of highbrow language in that and trying to sell it to Hollywood producers?
He is using a mixture, but yes, his plays are the pure highbrow, but his language is intermingled with the way we speak. It's I would call it a comedy of errors, lowercase.
And are you acting in this film, or what are your roles in it?
I have a very small role in it, but I'm the director and the writer and producer, and at the moment, promoter.
And when was this film made?
We just finished it. So we're looking at 2012.
Okay, so if people want to see it in Misty Moon...
It'll be at the Misty Moon through the 27th of May at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Every night, is it?
Every night, but Mondays and Tuesdays. Okay. Mondays and Tuesdays it won't be shown. One of the interesting things about it has this love triangle going on. If you know a little bit about your Shakespearean history, you might know that he wrote sonnets to W.H., and nobody's been able to verify who's W.H. Well, his very best friend, who happens to also be a drag queen, Wilma Hartford, finds the sonnets and becomes convinced that she is indeed his true love. This is to the chagrin of his girlfriend, Anne Hathaway.
For those of us who can't make it to Misty Moon, how will we get to see Billy Shakespeare?
I will be opening it in other cities, but I will also be streaming it as well.
This is the new high-tech world we live in.
Yes, that is the world we live in. So where do you live?
I am in Dublin. I'm just across the water from where you are now, yes.
I want to go to Ireland too. Find a pub for me and I'll open it there too.
Oh, well, there's plenty of pubs over here.
Give me a pull-down screen and I'll tap dance.
Very good.
My movie.
Is there going to be a physical DVD release of Billy Shakespeare?
Yes, there will be.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me about these acting workshops you're doing as well in the Misty Moon Gallery.
Yes. Basically, my concept is to teach people how to perform in front of a camera. Performing on stage is completely different than being on camera. Camera, you have retake after retake after retake, and you have to relive that emotion over and over again. And so whereas acting is this fluid acting experience, in a lot of ways acting for stage is more fulfilling for an actor. But acting for film, there's good parts about take two and bad parts about take two. Yes. For me, if you've got blood and a mask and everything, take two's not good.
So, as I said, we're pre-recording this interview, so I can't say whether or not there are vacancies left on the course, but if you check out the Misty Moon website, which is mistymoon.net, I'm sure the details will be there.
There will be.
So this is your own film company that's producing Billy Shakespeare, yes? And is this your first project?
Yes, it is.
And what are the plans for the future?
Well, my next film takes place in the early 1800s, and it's another comedy. And I guess I would call this one a comedy of mores, kind of a sexy romp is what this one's going to be.
Any ideas what the title is yet? Or?
I have a couple of ideas on that, either mores or Midsummer Night's Sex Romp.
Oh, so you're keeping the Shakespeare tone, yes.
Yes.
Are you going to visit any of the Shakespearean landmarks around Britain while you're here?
Oh, you bet.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with that.
Are you enjoying your stay? Because you've been in England now for a week, is it?
Yes, I have, and I've had a great time.
Well,
I really have.
Apart from the weather, probably, but...
Well, actually, I haven't minded it at all. I come from New Mexico. Now, I'm up in the mountains. People think of New Mexico as the desert, but it's actually, part of it is that I'm in the mountainous area, and we've been needing rain for so long. I've been very happy walking around in the rain, just like, I'll bring some home.
You're a native of Dallas as well, which I'm assuming is sunny all year round.
This is, well, pretty much so. It seems to be, yeah.
Okay, listen, Deborah, thanks very much for talking to us today about Misty Moon and the film Billy Shakespeare, which people can see up to the 27th at 8 p.m, apart from Monday and Tuesday. And also watch out for streaming and on DVD shortly.
Exactly. Thank you.
Hi people, this is Gianni Lombardo Radice from Stage Fright, and you are listening to the Hysteria Continues.
Okay, that was the lovely Debbie Sue Voorhees talking to me via Skype from London. And as she said, you have until the 27th of May, if you're in the London area, to meet her and see her film Billy Shakespeare.
Great. Okay. No, well, thank you, Debbie, for chatting with us. And yeah, we'll look forward to, because I think we're probably going to have another Friday film on the agenda at some point soon. If we're going to get to 5, we're going to have to get a move on, aren't we?
Yeah, we should start zooming through those, because I am going to pick 5 eventually. I love that film.
Yes. Well, I told Deborah that there's 4 of us in the podcast, and 3 of us love the film, and 1 of us is kind of indifferent. I didn't name names now, Justin. Don't worry.
Right. Is she going to hunt me down?
Like in Dead Hunt, yeah.
Yes.
She's going to motorboat you. You're going to have to. She's going to make you motorboat her until you die.
I've actually got. You might be impressed. I've actually got a Japanese poster for Friday the 13th Part 5 on my shelf behind me.
What's it look like? Is it
great.
wacky?
Sorry.
Is it wacky?
Wacky. Well, it's I don't know how you pronounce it. It's chirazi, or they're kind of the flyers that they give out, and they're kind of like slightly smaller than A4 size. But the poster's got the guy, I can't remember his name, the one who gets the belt round his eyes.
Robert Nixon. Or Robert Dixon. I call him Robert Nixon in the interview I do with her about Friday 5, which you'll hear later. Okay. But he's Dixon. Yeah. It's
got her, and it's got the girl. It's got the it's basically a montage. It's got Jason, or not Jason. It's got the final girl with a chainsaw. It's got the woman with a chest in her axe, and it's also got what's the other one? So look, it's there's another one I can't see, and it's got Debbie Sue Voorhees.
I'm looking at it right now, actually on Google. Yeah, it's actually quite good.
Yeah, it's great, and it's got her eyes gouged out, and I think it's got her bra on. I think in that one
she does have a bra on. Yeah. Which is not in the film, as we know.
No, exactly. So there's some controversy there for us to chat about.
He wrapped it around Eddie's eyes and killed him with it.
It must be a very powerful bra.
Yeah, that's what they should have used instead of the strap. I thought it would have kind of been ingenious.
Yeah,
but
would have been great,
what can you do?
What can you do? Well, I think it's about time to wrap it up, isn't it? As it were, and. We will be back in, we should be back in a couple of weeks with our Prey episode, which I think is going to be quite a lot of fun, because there's a lot of background information and stuff, isn't there, on that, and there's the famous kind of missing porno stuff. Well, not porno, but...
sub-porno, I guess you'd call it.
Stuff kind of thing. And, yeah, we'll hear from Laurie, and so, yeah, look forward to that. And also Nathan's quiz.
Oh, yes, that'll be fun.
Which will be easy.
Which will be very easy. Remember, yeah.
I want questions about Toya.
It'll be very easy for you guys. I'm sure.
That's what Joseph said.
Yeah, that's what Joseph said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always like to make it hard.
Yeah, what colour was
I'm
the
sure you
fourth
do.
Girl? Yeah, what colour socks was the
I'm going to ask a question like Justin was saying, what color was the heroine's blouse in Blood Rage?
That would be turquoise.
Blue. Red.
I don't even know, but I'm just saying.
I think it really is turquoise. I can't remember, but I think it might.
It better not be. Okay. Right. Well, thanks for listening. Yes, and another ramshackle show for you. So join us again on Hysteria Continues, and we're going to leave you. What are we leaving good people with?
Oh, yay.
That would be Something New by Janelle. I'm not sure, I can't remember the name of the actual group that did it, but it's lip synced by the... Yeah, it's lip synced by the Janelle character, and it's a great song.
Okay, well, enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. So thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, everybody getting down, getting on the case, and I think it's kind of tacky, there's nothing but a big rat race. Rat race. So you try to do your best, because you know it's the only thing that keeps you going, because you look like all the rest, so you do it. Yeah, you do it. It ain't need something new. You're giving out your love in the streets and the bars, and nothing you do seems to give you any satisfaction. I can't get no. Oh, you need something new. Yes, you do. You need something new. Yes, you do. In your life, or maybe tonight. In your life, baby, or maybe tonight. You need something new, yeah. Everybody getting down, getting on the case, and you think it's kind of tacky, 'cause it's nothing but a big rat race. Rat race. So you try to do your best, 'cause you know it's the only thing that keeps you going, 'cause you look like all the rest, so you do it. Yeah, you do it. You need something new, yes you do. You need something new, yes you do. In your life, maybe tonight. In your life, baby, you need something new, yeah. Boy, you know you're trouble and you don't know what to do, so you don't do nothing, just sit there and do. You need something new. You're giving out your love in the streets and the bars, and nothing you do seems to give you any satisfaction. I can't get no. Oh, you need something new. Yes, you do. You need something new. Yes, you do. In your life, or maybe tonight. In your life, baby, or maybe tonight. When you're walking, you're walking, you're walking, you're walking, you're talking, you're talking, there's nothing you can say. You need something new. Well, everybody telling you what you should do, but you can't do nothing, 'cause everybody telling you something new. You need something new. You need something new. Yes, you do. You need something new. Yes, you do. In your life, or maybe tonight. In your life, baby, or maybe tonight. You need something new. Yes, you do. You need something new. Yes, you do. Hey, you need something. You need something new. Something. You need something new. You need something new. Yes, you do. You need something new. Yes, you do.
I want to see a little pink.